and welcome to a triple threat digit style 6-hour battery drain test featuring the OnePlus 15, the iQOO 15 and the Realme GT 8 Pro. Now this one is going to be a wild ride. We usually do one-on-one comparisons, but this time we have put 3 Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 phones head-to-head to see which one comes out on top. So without any further ado, let's start with the key specs of all 3 devices. As you can see, they are all pretty evenly matched with the same chip, the same RAM and the same storage. The camera specs are also similar in terms of resolution, although the sensor themselves are different. Also, while the OnePlus 15 has a slightly lower resolution 1.5K panel compared to the 2K panels on the Realme and the iQOO, it is the Realme that uses an LTPS display, unlike the LTPO panels on the other two. And of course, the OnePlus 15 also gets a 165Hz refresh rate compared to 144Hz on the other two. Now this time around, juggling 3 phones at once is definitely going to be a challenge, but I will do my best to keep things fair and consistent. All 3 phones are connected to the same Wi-Fi network with the display brightness calibrated to 500 nits using a lux meter and the screen color mode set to natural. All are updated to their latest software builds atop Android 16. The resolution is set to Full HD+, the refresh rate is on adaptive, the audio volume is fixed at 50%, and of course, all 3 phones are fully charged at 100%. Starting with the YouTube video playback, and as you can see, all 3 phones offer excellent displays, and in day-to-day use, all of them look properly sharp, even though the OnePlus 15 has a 1.5K resolution panel, while the iQOO 15 and the Realme GT 8 Pro get Quad HD+ resolution and 144Hz refresh rates. The Realme GT 8 Pro goes for a more natural, balanced look out of the box with colors that feel realistic and easy on the eyes. I would say the same thing for the OnePlus 15, having a display that outputs pleasing colors, while its 1.5K panel also helps with efficiency. But if one phone clearly stands out, it is the iQOO 15. It has the brightest and the most vibrant display of the 3, with punchier colors and stronger highlights that really shine outdoors. Even under direct sunlight, all 3 phones perform exceptionally well, but the iQOO 15 looks a step ahead of both the OnePlus and the Realme. So while all 3 are excellent to look at, the iQOO 15 clearly takes the crown for better adaptive brightness and visual impact. With that, we are done with the 2-hour YouTube video playback round, and the iQOO 15 is leading right now with an impressive 96% battery remaining, followed by the OnePlus 15 at 89% and the Realme GT 8 Pro at 86%. Okay, now it's time to record an hour of 4K video split between the front and rear cameras. Let's start with the rear camera. 4K 60fps video for around half an hour. While the recording is on, here are the camera specs for all 3 devices. The OnePlus 15 comes with a new 50-megapixel triple rear camera setup paired with a 32-megapixel front camera. It supports video recording at up to 8K 30fps from the rear and 4K 60fps from the front. The iQOO 15 also comes with a new 50-megapixel triple rear camera setup paired with a 32-megapixel selfie camera. It also supports video recording at up to 8K 30fps from the rear and 4K 60fps from the front. Finally, the Realme GT 8 Pro comes evenly matched with its own 50-megapixel triple rear camera setup paired with a 32-megapixel selfie camera. It also supports video recording at up to 8K 30fps from the rear and 4K 60fps from the front. Alright, it is time to wrap up our 30-minute 4K video recording test using the rear cameras. In terms of thermals, the iQOO 15 peaked at around 39 degrees Celsius. The Realme GT 8 Pro topped out at roughly 38 degrees, while the OnePlus 15 showed better thermal control of the bunch and peaked at about 35.5 degrees Celsius. Okay, let's begin the 30-minute 4K 60fps video recording from the front cameras. And while that's running, here are some photo samples captured on all 3 devices. Alright, we are about to wrap up a full hour of 4K video recording. Checking the temperatures once again, the iQOO 15 actually ran a bit cooler this time, peaking at around 37 degrees Celsius, while the Realme GT 8 Pro stayed almost the same at around 38 degrees Celsius. Interestingly, the OnePlus 15 was the warmest of the three in this round, peaking at 39 degrees Celsius. So after 3 hours of continuous testing, the iQOO 15 is still in the lead with 83% battery, followed by the OnePlus 15 at 78%, followed by the Realme GT 8 Pro at 73%. Alright, time to run some benchmarks now to get an idea when put under heavy load, which phone delivers the better performance and of course the better endurance. First up, the specs, and all three phones here on the table are powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chip with up to 16 GB LPDDR5X RAM and up to 512 GB of UFS 4.1 storage. So starting with Geekbench 6, the OnePlus 15 is about 0.4% faster than the iQOO 15 in single-core performance and roughly 2.7% faster than the Realme GT 8 Pro. In multi-core performance, the OnePlus 15 extends its lead with around a 5% advantage over the iQOO 15 and about a 1.8% edge over the Realme GT 8 Pro. Now, AnTuTu tells a very different story. While both the GT 8 Pro and the iQOO 15 completed the test with outstanding scores, the OnePlus 15 crashed right around the end and as a result did not register any score. The phone simply could not take the load. Moving on to 3D Mark, well, the OnePlus 15 simply could not complete the stress test again and kept crashing across multiple runs. To keep things fair, I instead ran a 30-minute CPU throttling test on the OnePlus 15 while the other two completed 3D Mark. The iQOO 15 delivered the highest peak performance, resulting in about 80% stability and a 67 to 155 FPS range. The GT 8 Pro took a completely different route. Identical best and lowest loop scores, a perfect 100% stability and a steady 54 to 60 FPS throughout. So while the iQOO 15 leads in raw performance, the Realme GT 8 Pro delivers on consistency. Now, the OnePlus 15 had already completed its 15-minute CPU throttling test by now, while the iQOO 15 and Realme GT 8 Pro ran for another 15 minutes. The iQOO 15 clearly led in sustained performance, posting the highest average GIPS at 330,000 along with a strong 76% stability score, showing it throttles the least in real-world terms. The Realme GT 8 Pro recorded the best stability at 79%, but its much lower 220,000 average GIPS shows it trails in raw output. The OnePlus 15 sits behind both at 256,000 GIPS and 66% stability. So here's a quick look at the scores from the benchmarks round. You can pause and take a look. Now, quick check of the battery stats at almost the 4-hour mark, and yes, the OnePlus 15 has taken the lead with 63% battery left, but it is only fair to remember that it could not complete the 3D Mark test or the AnTuTu test. While it did run an extra 15-minute CPU throttling test, that simply does not put the same kind of load as 3D Mark. Even so, the iQOO 15 is still going strong with 57% battery left, with the Realme GT 8 Pro right behind at 55%. So when it comes to gaming, all three phones are clearly very capable and have no trouble running modern titles like BGMI, Call of Duty Mobile or Asphalt 9 at up to 120 FPS with ease. Day-to-day gameplay is smooth across the board, and for most users, any of these phones will feel fast and responsive. But once you start looking beyond just frame rates, the differences become much clearer. The iQOO 15 now pulls ahead by a solid margin. I recently updated the iQOO 15 to one of the newer builds of Origin OS 6, and while it was just bug fixes on the changelog, in the long run I can definitely feel the difference. On the current build, the iQOO 15 delivers the strongest sustained performance, the highest peak output and least throttling under heavy load. Now, it does warm up quicker, but its thermal management is still the best balanced of the three. The Realme GT 8 Pro focuses on stability, staying cooler and more controlled during longer gaming sessions, but it simply cannot match the iQOO in raw performance. The OnePlus 15 meanwhile struggles on the benchmark side with the crashes in AnTuTu and 3D Mark, as you saw. So this raises concerns for power users, even though a real world gameplay remains smooth. So while all three are great for gaming, if pure performance, better thermals and minimum throttling are what you want, the iQOO 15 clearly comes out on top. And with that, we have wrapped up the gaming round as well. At this stage, the OnePlus 15 is still in the lead with 55% battery left, followed by the iQOO 15 at 46% battery and the Realme GT 8 Pro at 45%. We are now entering the final stretch of our battery drain test. Up next, I will be running an hour of Instagram on all phones, but instead of keeping you waiting till the very end, let's fast forward straight to the 6-hour mark. By this point, the OnePlus 15 finishes with 50% battery left, while the iQOO 15 wraps up with 41%, followed by the Realme GT 8 Pro at 39%. Here's a look at the hour-by-hour battery drain comparison for all three phones on your screen right now. So, after 6 hours of testing, the OnePlus 15 did finish with the most battery left, but it is crucial to note that it did not complete the full benchmark round, crashing in both Antutu and 3D Mark due to overheating. The extra CPU throttling test it ran simply does not match the load of 3D Mark, giving the OnePlus an unintended advantage. The iQOO 15, on the other hand, proved to be the strongest all-round performer with the best sustained performance, the least throttling, the brightest display, and the most dominant gaming results. However, it also drained the most battery during benchmark, so much so that the Realme GT 8 Pro could have overtaken it overall. That said, in the video playback round, the iQOO 15 showed excellent efficiency, which if you basically want a phone for binge watching content, you are going to appreciate it a lot. So the final takeaway is pretty simple. The OnePlus 15 shows outstanding battery potential but carries clear concerns around thermal stability under extreme load. The Realme GT 8 Pro is the most stable and consistent performer, but if you're looking for the best mix of power, thermals, display quality and gaming performance, the iQOO 15 is the phone that truly shines in this three-way battle. And that's it for the comparison between the OnePlus 15, iQOO 15 and the Realme GT 8 Pro. Share your thoughts with me in the comments below, and as always, I'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.